Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Laithwaite Community Stadium for a big night in the Vanarama National League as managerless Woking host the league leaders and their old foes Chesterfield. The two sides that clamoured and clashed over the coveted third place of the league last season have had somewhat contrasting campaigns this year, with the Spireites assuming the rightful title of favouritism for promotion and lead the way at the summit with a solid cushion of 5 points to nearest pursuers Barnet. That despite both of the top two losing on Saturday, with high-flying Solihull also coming unstuck at home to Maidenhead. Much further down the table you'll find the home team, Woking, languishing in 17th without their old boss Darren Saal, who was sacked a week ago after collapsing down the table with a run of 8 defeats in their last 10 games. Ian Dyer once again took temporary charge of the Cards' 1-0 home defeat to Oldham on Saturday, and as a result now have the worst record in front of their home supporters in the division, aside from bottom club Kidderminster. That said, Woking have plenty to play for, with a new era dawning. Soon, we hope, the club are expecting to appoint a new boss in the next few days, with an array of candidates on the board's shortlist. There is no tougher team to face right now, no tougher time to play them. It is Woking against Chesterfield, live here on BBC Radio Surrey. So Ian Dyer at the helm for the second time in his career on his own, makes 2 changes from the defeat here 3 days ago. There are recalls for Charlie Wakefield and Morgan Williams. Rhys Gregor-Cox drops to the bench and there is no place for Denon Lewis. The Woking team in full. Alexis Andre Jr. keeps his place in goal. Fullbacks of Dan Moss and captain Josh Casey. Scott Cuthbert and Greg Taylor are the central defenders. In midfield, Morgan Williams is alongside Rowan Ince and Tunji Akinola. Further afield, Alfie Pavey, Padraig Ammond and Charlie Wakefield. For Chesterfield, 6 changes after they were surprisingly beaten at Roots Hall, the home of Southend United, on Saturday. In comes the likes of Raheem Shackelford and Miguel Freckington. Also in the squad, Mike Jones, Armando Dobra, and a new duo up top in the shape of James Berry and Joe Quigley. Their team in full. Harry Trier continues in goal. A back 4 across. Right back Raheem Shackelford. Left back Miguel Freckleton. The 2 central defenders, Ash Palmer and Jamie Grimes, the captain. The 2 central midfield players, Mike Jones and Tom Naylor. Out wide, Armando Dobra and Liam Mandeville. James Berry and Joe Quigley, former Woking striker, of course, from nearly 10 years ago. On the bench, 5 of the 6 that drop out from Saturday: Brandon Horton, Ryan Cocklough, Ollie Banks, who was a scorer here earlier this year in the win for Chesterfield, Michael Jacobs and Will Crigg. No place for Darren Oldacre after his own goal on Saturday. Woking in their traditional red and white shirts, their black shorts and their white socks. Chesterfield all in blue shirts, shorts and socks. And the game is underway. Woking playing from left to right as we look here in the commentary box. A long ball from Cuthbert is more or less straight out of play. It gives me a perfect opportunity to introduce my co-commentator and summariser for the evening. It's Mr. John Moore. John, how are we?
Good evening everyone. How are we? Full of trepidation, I think it's fair to say, after what's happened. I was just saying to some people prior to this game, the last game I did was the home game against Bromley, where I felt we were very unfortunate not to get anything. And you cannot believe in what 6 weeks how things have imploded.
Woking now down in 17th. They're in absolute freefall at the minute. 6 wins, 4 draws, now 10 defeats. They've even got a negative goal difference because they don't score many. Whilst at the other end, Chesterfield in complete command at the top of the table. That despite beaten on Saturday, as I say, in a rather surprise defeat to Southend, although they've got plenty of issues off the field, but doing their talking on the pitch. And here's Harry Tyra, the Everton loanee. Of course, Everton with issues themselves in the Premier League to sort out over the coming weeks. First touch now for Quigley. Mandeville now striding on, challenged by Cuthbert, was strong and astute as Taylor was caught there, but Woking allowed to play on. Ammond will not give this up. He's looking to get beyond Grimes. And Grimes strokes it back to Tyra. He's already had a fair few touches in the Chesterfield goal, all in pink. The Chesterfield goalkeeper, lovely touch from Quigley, and Mandeville sweeps it out to this left where Berry is all on his own. James Berry now striding forward, out to Dobra. Shadowed by Cuthbert and Wakefield, who's dropping back. And here's Miguel Freckleton. Back to Dobra. Got Moss and Wakefield either side, and Chesterfield have their first throw.
Well, it was a good move, I'll tell you what, quickly straight away,
I have to say that, you know, if Woking had 11 Scott Cuthberts in this side, they would not be in the position they are now. He's been really, for me, the one shining light this season. He really is a class act.
I think I'd agree with you if you add in, you know, Kellerman when he was in the squad, and of course Padraig Hammond, who never puts a foot wrong. Other than that, I agree with you. No chances taken from Taylor. Straight back through to Tyra. 25 points between the two sides, and we're in November. Bearing in mind there was just 2 points between them after 46 games last term. It really has been one-way traffic for Chesterfield, whilst Woking have gone in the other direction, John.
Yeah, and they must have some real quality in their team tonight, because you've got the likes of Ryan Coldclough, Ollie Banks and Will Grigg on the bench.
No Jeff King.
Yep. And, you know, Coldclough is a player I really, really rate.
And he was fantastic here back in March, you may recall.
Yep.
He had a fantastic game. Was signing from Altrincham earlier this year. Woking have taken just 6 points in their last 10 games. Their home form is absolutely wretched. They've not won here in the league since August. And as I said earlier on, they have the second worst record at home in the league. Of course, the worst being Kidderminster. There was a push there on Pavey, who Ian Dyer keeps the faith with tonight, still looking for his first Woking goal as Quigley is on the turn. Casey puts his foot through it, but straight to Naylor, Tom Naylor, now lofting it out to the far side where Shackelford is arriving. Casey is challenging him. Inside ball to Mandeville, had a bit of space. Shackelford there in support. Now back with Jones and Ashley Palmer. Shackelford, inside ball to Mandeville this time, looking for a return pass on the overlap, but Mandeville goes on his own. Casey gets his body across and eventually clears Woking's line, slipped on landing, or clearance rather. The ball straight back with Mike Jones, the veteran in the Chesterfield midfield, 36 years of age now, the oldest man on the pitch. Now with Grimes, the Chesterfield captain. Freckleton to Dobra. And Chesterfield happy to keep possession for now. 4 minutes into the game, still goalless, but I'd say the possession stats are, 10% Woking, 90% Chesterfield so far. Jamie Grimes to Berry, who's pulled out to this left-hand side. And Chesterfield winning the second balls at the minute. It's a loose pass back from Freckleton. And Tara eventually gets the visitors clear. Inter's lost out in midfield, but swept up by Akinola. It's turned into a really good searching ball for Wakefield. The keeper's come out. Sandwich between himself, the ball, and his fullback. And Cuthbert will retrieve it for Woking. Cuthbert straight back to Alexis Andre Jr., who continues between the sticks for the home team. Jaskalainen named as a substitute. He was missing on Saturday, potential illness, I have heard. As Williams, who is Woking's player of the month, loses out in midfield. Palmer knows what it takes to get promoted, of course, with Stockport 3 years ago. I'd like to do the same with Chesterfield, who so narrowly missed out last term, of course. Everybody expected Wrexham and Notts County to go up, but not in the circumstances that fell through the playoffs, as Pavey's lost out to Grimes. But here's Josh Casey now, opts to take a touch and driving into the Chesterfield half. Josh Casey going all on his own here, looks to go the long way around Shackelford. Casey just stumbled on connection.
And just a word about Denon Lewis. He's missing tonight because he's injured. Obviously he went off on Saturday. So it's not a case of him being axed or anything like that.
Yeah, no Lewis. Gregor Cox is on the bench. Here's Dan Moss. Of course, no Jim Kellerman, who's been a big loss. Former Chesterfield player, of course.
Yeah, huge loss, Jim Kellerman. You know, he sets the tone. He makes Ince look a much better player when he's alongside him. Rumour is that he's trying to get back in time for the Aldershot game, but we've seen what happens before when players get rushed back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Anderson, you know, they break down very quickly.
Cox has done it. Yeah. Players just grabbing a drink or two. Not really too sure what the delay is here.
And Mark, putting you on the spot a little bit, when you analyse this season, what do you think has gone wrong?
Well, I was speaking to a few fans earlier, and I think that Darren Sarll's a very good manager. We all know that. He implements his own style, his own identity, but I think you've got to look at the recruitment. That if you're buying players from League One, is that a step back? Because there are players reaching the end of their careers. So I don't think the recruitment's been right from the top level. Whereas when you look below, if you're cherry picking the best of the National League South or perhaps the National League North in Alfie Pavey, he's yet to find the back of the net and he was brought in to score goals. So I think you do have to look at the recruitment. It's something like 27 players in the Woking squad. Of course, 16 of them can only be named on the team sheet. So I think you have to look at it that way. And you look at Chesterfield, you know, they've got depth in their squad that they can bring in players, you know, like today Raheem Shackelford plays, no Jeff King. They don't need Jeff King today. He might be injured, I'm not too sure, but they have that rotation. With Woking, Darren Sarle's always going to name his best team. It might have upset one or two that have departed the club. Of course, Matt Robinson moved on very quickly. Players have gone back. You know, I heard a podcast from the Peterborough United manager asking why have Woking gone for Charlie O'Connell again. He never features. So I think you have to look at the recruitment and the players that they brought in, not just recently, but also the summer. That's where it's clearly gone wrong. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. I think his summer recruitment was ever so poor. And, you know,
It's a lovely flick onto Ammond. We'll return to that in just a second. He's all on his own, Padraig Ammond, chipped towards the back post. It got a deflection to Akinola. Now with Ince, who completely misses it. Ince is still driving forward, though, and has won it back momentarily. The ball's just got stuck between a Chesterfield player's feet, and Woking do have a free kick, which allows you to finish your point, John.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, of course, he's signed far too many injury-prone players. I don't really understand why those on the board didn't question those signings. I mean, no player sets out to be injured, but goodness me, you're signing the likes of, you know, Akinola,
retaining Anderson and Grego Cox, I guess.
Wilkinson. Corboa,
Totally forgot about Wilkinson.
Wakefield. The list is endless. You've got a third of your squad injured. You just can't put any continuity or run together.
Casey, it's a floated ball towards the back post. Grimes rises first. Here's Akinola, straight down, but cut out by Mandeville. Dan Moss is going to have to go all the way back to his goalkeeper here. It's gone from a Woking free kick straight back to Alexis Andre Jr. within 10 seconds. Chesterfield's shape is pretty solid at the moment.
Anderson's another one.
Headed by Moss. There's a player down for Chesterfield. Seems to be okay, and they've got two men down now, which Woking continue with Charlie Wakefield on the Woking right, supported by Dan Moss, but Wakefield wants to go on his own. Wakefield, decent cross, but straight to the hands of Harry Tyra. It's a bit more promising from the home team in the last 90 seconds or so.
Yeah, and good to see Wakefield getting on the ball, really, you know, trying to show the Woking fans what he's all about. I thought good refereeing there. You know, he let the play go on. He didn't stop it. He didn't panic, and the Chesterfield player's up.
Yep. Checked to see if it was a head injury. It wasn't, so Woking could continue. It's over Taylor. And Cuthbert rises to the header. Pavey leaves it alone. They recognise he was offside. Up rises Ince. A few headers in the middle of the park. Latest one by Freckleton to Quigley now on the turn. Challenged by Taylor. Quigley still has possession and offloads it short to Mike Jones. Short pass to Ashley Palmer, who turned 31 just last week. Shackelford back infield to Palmer, now with Grimes. Back to the left back, Miguel Freckleton, who's on loan from Sheffield United. Dobra, supported by Berry. Dobra goes back to Freckleton, who's had loan spells with Yeovil Town and Wildston. Now getting a chance at left back for the league leaders. Shackelford getting the wrong side of his man. Low ball into the box. And the goalkeeper does well to give it the right side of the line. 10 minutes played. Still Woking 0, Chesterfield 0.
It's going to be interesting to see how Alexis Andre Jr. fares. Mixed opinions about him, but certainly perhaps Jaskalainen's illness on Saturday was fortuitous, really, because, you know, he's never really convinced me. And, you know, I know that other managers, they all talk, and the rumour is that he always has a mistake in him, and that's not wrong, you know. It'll do him good maybe to have a rest. Certainly when you analyse the goals conceded against Oxford were just shocking, really, you know, and you just can't, no manager can cope with that. But the argument is, well, he picked him, he, if you like, signed him, and he persevered with him.
Here's Berry on the Chesterfield left. Looking to conjure up another attack for the visitors. Naylor's in a bit of space as he drifts one out to the Chesterfield right. Shackelford in a bit of room. Low ball to Mandeville. First time cross, rebounds off Akinola. Will be the first corner of the game for Chesterfield. And the referee's being called over here. Not really too sure what for.
And at the moment, I think Woking have started quite well, really. You know, they've gone stride for stride with Chesterfield. They haven't dropped deep. They're not inviting them on. You know, they're sticking with their runners. So they've just got to keep their concentration levels up, not let heads drop. Let's see how they now cope with this first corner. In particular, the keeper. He's already got loads of bodies around him.
Mandeville in charge of this corner kick over on the far side. Drops one in towards the back post. Cuthbert is there. It's not the best clearance. He does rise up again. He's lost sight of where the ball was. Akinola will tidy up for him, and Williams can bring it clear, lofting it forward to Wakefield, and Wakefield's away here. Ammond is unmarked in the box. Wakefield goes on his own though, looking to hit the bar line, supported by Williams. Here is the Welshman. Williams. Here's Rowan Ince. Woking play it out nicely. But they were on the attack there. They did catch Chesterfield as Taylor goes direct straight to Ince, and now Tunji Akinola. Playing rather patiently, Woking, straight back to their goalkeeper, who clips one forward this time. Pavey's underneath this one, rises a little bit too early, but Ammond is there, back off Palmer. Wakefield with support, now with Williams, low ball, rebounds off Palmer. Williams will collect it just on the edge of the 18-yard box, towards the back post, and it's a poor ball in, left-footed. Rolls out for a goal kick. What do you make of that, John?
It was a decent attack, but, you know, why not pull the trigger?
Just have a go.
Absolutely.
Why not?
Wakefield was in a decent position to have a pop.
How many chances are you going to get to sit on the edge of the 18-yard box and have a crack at goal like that?
Exactly. But, look,
encouraging.
At least it's encouraging. Yeah. Woking are trying to have a bit of width. It's encouraging to see the play down the right-hand side, because for so long they've been lopsided with the play always going down the left, so that in itself is refreshing.
And they've got full office tonight to just have a go. They're not expected to beat Chesterfield given the current circumstances. Have a go, have a pop.
Yeah, exactly, but equally, you know, you don't want to get thumped either, otherwise that doesn't do much for morale, but I know what you mean.
Naylor will swoop one out to Berry. It's a lovely ball, it must be said. Chesterfield's number 18 up against Dan Moss, low left-footed ball across the face of goal, dealt with again by Cuthbert. Go back to that point that you said inside 60 seconds, John, that Cuthbert really has been that stalwart in the Woking defence.
Yeah, and you know, Woking's defence overall has been decent this season, really. It has. If you look at the record, you compare it with other teams, it's up top and in midfield, really, that have been their failings.
Well, they've got the 5th best defence in the division in terms of goals conceded. They've actually conceded 2 fewer than Chesterfield.
Yeah.
Offside flag comes up. Speaking of goals conceded, I've got a whopping stat for you as well, John. It'll be, you know,
hit me with it.
Chesterfield have conceded 26 goals this season, the same as Kidderminster, who are at the bottom of the table.
Wow. So it just shows you, you know, if you get at them, you never know.
They do, of course, top the division with goals scored, 48 goals. They could, with 3 points tonight, hit the half-century mark. So both goals and points. Williams nearly found a bit of room to manoeuvre into. Woking throw. This game is definitely open.
Yeah, as I say, you know, Woking, considering their current form, considering where they are in the table, certainly have not shown any inferiority complex at all. Early days, I know, but 15 minutes on the clock, and I would say it's encouraging.
Right. Yeah, they've done all right. Throw from Casey. For a team that probably currently have the worst confidence in the league, are putting up a bit of a show. Pavey refound his footing as Akinola goes the long way around Mandeville. Woking have a throw. Paul Cook is starting to get a little agitated on the edge of his technical area. Some ambitious ball out to Dan Moss. First time to Wakefield, who's been alive on this Woking right, but has lost out to Freckleton here. Now with Jones. Back to Grimes. Pavey chases. Cuppert there to the header. Wakefield flicks it on to Pavey. Pavey just losing out. Outnumbered at the end by 2 blue shirts. Ashley Palmer can bring it away. Now with Grimes. Both goals this term for Jamie Grimes came in the space of 2 days. His 20th appearance tonight, of course, his 3rd season with Chesterfield. Again, a direct ball, but a untimely slip from Quigley, and Taylor confidently brings it forward. He's found a lovely ball to Williams. It wasn't the best of touches. He eventually loses out to Shackelford. Well spotted by Taylor. Some excellent distribution from Wokin's back line, and a better touch. Williams could have been through there.
Absolutely, Mark. You know, it was a great ball. It was hit with pace. It was played right into him, and his control let him down.
Chesterfield throw.
But looking at positives, more encouraging signs.
We have a throw just in front of our technical area here, down below us. 18 minutes on the clock. The two sides have met 7 times in the past. The last twice has, of course, favoured the away side. Chesterfield winners here back in March. Of course, after Woking won at the Technique Stadium a month earlier. Woking were winners here back in September of 2021 by the same scoreline of 3-1. That would be some upset today, given the conditions of this game. And as we keep highlighting how the two teams are in contrasting form, of course, both coming here off the back of a defeat at opposite ends of the table. Dan Moss, long throw back to Taylor. Left-footed clearance down the other end of the pitch. Williams is underneath this one. Flag stays down, now goes up. Sorry, go on, John.
Was your heart in your mouth when you arrived, Mark, with the floodlights?
Yes. when we got here to the Laithwaite tonight, the lights were off, and it was 6:30, and you would have thought players warming up, the lights should be on, but eventually they did come on. I was going to say, I think it was me and you, John, for Bromley all those years ago. I'll say all those years ago.
No, it was. I think it was Ian, but I was listening. Right. But yeah, certainly a nervy moment. When I arrived, they said, "Don't want to worry you, but
no
there's a problem with the floodlights."
Yeah.
And I immediately, my heart went out to the Chesterfield
fans.
And
they brought some great numbers tonight, haven't
they?
What would you say, 200?
Yep.
Including those in the stand, maybe even more.
On a Tuesday night. Full respect.
Team are flying. Up and down the country they travel. They've been relentless and ruthless in their displays so far. Of course, only failing to win just 4 times this season. One of those being 3 days ago. Here's Joe Quigley in the centre circle, shrugging off the challenge of Taylor, who hasn't given up by any stretch of the imagination, and Quigley still continues to motor forward. Drops it back to Shackelford, though. Now with Grimes. 5 points clear at the top, Chesterfield. Over Barnet. As I said a few moments ago, a win tonight would take them to a half-century of points already. Many clubs would perceive as being safe. And we're in November, of course. They're absolutely flying the spar rights. It's a lovely turn from Jones to take it away from Ince. Knocked on to Palmer.
There's grass behind him, as I say. He's shown a lot of...
Back with Grimes. 32-year-old captain. Dobra. It's allowed to turn on Ince, and it's a little bit too easy as the Albanian motors forward now. Finding Quigley. Dan Moss is there to cut it out. Flag's gone up anyway. But they're just giving the likes of Dobra and Mandeville just too much space in the final third, aren't they?
Yeah, well, certainly on that occasion, Ince really was found wanting.
Just standing off too much.
Yeah, he kind of got the wrong side. And, you know, the Chesterfield player was away. Must watch for that. But it's kind of explain that Ince, you know, he hasn't had a regular midfield partner, or there hasn't been a regular midfield trio for Woking all season.
Not at all.
And it is so difficult, and particularly when he got injured early on. You know, I think it's taken him a while to get fitness levels up.
The Chesterfield fans are absolutely appalled that they haven't got that foul there. It was right under their noses. I don't think the referee had a very good view. Woking continue though. Casey's ball in falls to Akinola. The cries of shoot are not met. Pavey onto Casey though, just overstretching. Goal kick given. Now Paul Cook is absolutely beside himself how that is not given. Again, it was the other side of the pitch to where we were sitting. But
exactly.
You know,
Well, how can Paul Cook see?
Yeah, very true.
Oh, we can't. How can he?
I think he's playing off the reaction to his supporters over on the Chris Lane Terrace. But I think Woking are just edging the luck at the minute with the referee. I'd say they're probably edging the play as well. They've started brightly. They're putting Grimes under pressure here. And the mistake has enforced a Woking throw and a clap at the hands from Ian Dyer.
Yep. And the fact that Paul Cook's getting animated shows you how Woking are playing at the moment.
Absolutely. Signs of life in this Woking team as we reach the halfway point in the first half. And Dan Moss has the throw back to Rowan Ince. Quick 1-2. Lovely turn infield as well. Dan Moss back to Cuthbert. Cuthbert looking long and looking for Padraig Ammon. Chested down to Pavey. Good at interchanging triangular football from Woking. On their right hand side now is Wakefield, supported by Moss. Was caught fairly by Freckleton. The linesman was right there. And they have a throw next to the corner flag.
Quite a battle between Wakefield and Frecklington. And, you know, Wakefield's, it's a good sign. He's prepared to take his full back on.
I still feel like we haven't seen the maximum of Charlie Wakefield yet. It seems like he's been here forever, but he's been plagued by injuries, and even the minutes he has had, he hasn't shown probably his full potential.
Well, as you say, hit by injuries and not playing. It's a lethal combination.
Short throw, which Wakefield poorly controls, but he has managed to win the corner kick. Good opportunity for Woking to send the likes of Taylor and Cuthbert forward as Casey goes over to take charge of corner kick duties. Akinola drops back and Williams on the edge of the D, and already Paul Cook giving the fourth official a bit of an earful as 2 or 3 of his substitutes go to warm up, including Cole Clough, Grigg and Ollie Banks. The 3 hitmen on the Chesterfield bench this evening. Casey with his right hand in the air has Pavey, Ince and Co to fly it to. The keeper dropped it, but he always seemed to be just about under control.
Poor corner though, really, wasn't it? Right down
at the
keeper's throat.
Fortunate that he dropped it. As Williams wins the header, but Dobridge picked up the loose ball 35 yards out. On the turn, 180 degrees back to Freckleton. And Freckleton infield straight to Rowan Ince. Now with Pavey. Pavey's lost out. He wants a foul, which he's not going to get. But you can see anger taking over Alfie Pavey as Woking were on the counter-attack.
Frustrating,
really,
that
cheaply,
because you know Woking did really well to press, get the ball back, and then Pavey fluffed his lines.
Sign from Farnborough to find the back of the net, of which he's yet to do. But it's not as though Woking have been scoring for fun. Lots of players struggling to hit the back of the net. Of course, no Reece Brown tonight. He's in international action with Antigua and Barbuda. I think they're playing Guyana in the early hours of tomorrow. So best wishes to Reece Brown. Mandeville out to Shackelford. He's been man-marshalled by Casey and Akinola. Mandeville allowed time. Looking for support, has to go back. Woking's pressure is solid and strong. Jones delivers it to Freckleton. Freckleton infield to Berry. Berry now up against Rowan Ince. Wants to get it onto that right foot of his. As Pavey, was he caught? Yes.
And that's better from Pavey.
Do what you can to keep the ball. If you're fouled, you're fouled.
Yeah, just hold the ball up. You know, his role is to hold the ball up, win flick-ons, and try and get on the end of crosses. You know, he's never going to be a player that's going to get behind defences with pace or anything like that. So, again, it's important that Woking try and play to his strengths without just hoofing it all the time. You need to try and get wide, need to try and get crosses in for him.
And when they have gone wide, they've got a lot out of it, all but a goal. As Ince has found Williams, but it's a poor touch, or Wakefield I should say. Williams is over on the other flank. But they are both flair players, Wakefield and Williams. They thrive on confidence, When they have the ball, they do want to run with it. Quickly sandwiched between two red and white shirts. Pavey now beaten to it by Grimes, brought down by Dobra. Pavey's won it back. Wakefield infield to Ince. Nice 1-2 with Pavey. And Ince just pulling the shirt there of the Chesterfield midfielder. And Ince standing in the way of the free kick. Might be in a spot of bother. Know how vocal Paul Cook can be, particularly in his match interviews, but
and with spectators as well.
Yeah, he's almost like an auctioneer out there. Sort of the conductor in the orchestra that is Chesterfield Football Club. Of course, his second spell, determined and driven to get this club back into the Football League. This is his 96th game in his second spell as boss, and possesses a 55% strike rate of winning as Pavey loses out again, and Freckleton can bring it forward for the visitors. Berry looking to get beyond Dan Moss, and Dan Moss just simply took him out, and we are going to see the first yellow card of the game for Dan Moss.
Yeah, he can't have any complaints about that.
I don't think so, no.
But he's one of those players, you know, a wholehearted player. He's going to pick up cards, but he needs to be careful.
Yes.
Because we're only in the 28th minute, and he does like a tackle, Dan Moss.
It's his fourth booking of the season. Of course, one more this side of Christmas could spell a one-game suspension. Getting to that part of the year, aren't we, where players on 4 yellows need to just be reminded of their challenges and discipline. Mandeville over the resulting free kick. It's whipped in. Goalkeeper's come out a long way and he's missed it. Not too sure who got the last touch because it is a Chesterfield corner. The goalkeeper didn't seem that close to the ball, and eyes were shut, John Moore.
Yeah, well, let's give credit first of all for the delivery. It was excellent, but the keeper, you know, if you come, you've just got to make it. You really have to, and Woking got lucky there.
Yeah, very fortunate, Alexis Andre Jr.
So let's just hope that doesn't unnerve him. Let's see now how he deals with this corner.
Mandeville in his 5th season now with the Spireites, hovering over this corner kick. 15 minutes to go until half-time. Still goalless here at the Laithwaite. It's going to be an outswinger from Mandeville after that wonderful free kick in. Havigum and Gregor Cox both warming up for the home side. Here comes the corner. It's low towards the front post, met by Naylor, who gives it straight back to Mandeville. First time ball is lofted towards the back post. Up rises Grimes. Falls to Jones on the edge of the box. Back to Freckleton. And Woking aren't in any rush to get out of their own box. Clipped back forward by the left back. Nodded on by Naylor, but above and beyond Mandeville's position, Woking have a throw on that far side.
So that's really the first worrying moment for Woking, with the keeper missing that cross. But half an hour's gone, and so far so good.
This first half an hour reminds me of the first half an hour when the two teams met up in March. It was cagey, it was close, and there wasn't a lot to split between them. You wouldn't think there are 16 places and 25 points between these two sides. That being said, it only takes 5 minutes for Chesterfield to be away and gone in this game.
Yeah, I agree. But, as I say, so far so good.
Half an hour played. Josh Casey, the Woking captain. Long throw down the line, headed on by Ammond. Too short for Williams. Up rises Akinola. It's a wonderful header. Woking have another throw, this time inside the Chesterfield half. We'll run through some scores in the National League in the next few moments. As many as 9 games this evening. Not too many goals. As at the other end, Pavey is through here. Falls to the ground. I think he just lost out in a strength battle then.
Yeah, he's frustrated, but it didn't seem like a penalty to me. But, you know, at least he's putting himself about. At least he's hustling. At least he's making life a little bit uncomfortable for the likes of Grimes and co. That's what you want from your centre forward.
Wakefield, nice flick on to Ammond, again surrounded by blue shirts as Ince has located Wakefield, looking for Ammond again, but cleared by Grimes. Cuthbert, it's a magnificent battle between Cuthbert and Quigley. Two tanks of the National League. Dobra Bacchiol rebounds off Ince. Just very quickly in the National League, games with goals in: Bromley 2, Aldershot Town 0, Eastleigh 1, Boreham Wood 1. FC Halifax Town 0, Fylde 1 is a bit of a surprise. Also Kidderminster 1, Hartlepool 1, and York City 2, Oxford City 0. Everywhere else currently goalless, including here. I think a foul throw against Freckleton. And the referee indicating the high leg. I mean, we saw it in the Premier League last week.
And Paul Cook, it's fair to say, does not like that decision.
Well, it's a foul throw.
Well, and if he carries on, he's going to get a booking, isn't he? Really.
No stranger to the referee.
You know, I thought these days of the referee getting it in the net and the officials getting it in the net were gone, and you were supposed to be flourishing cards. But these things come in with a great flourish and then they seem to die a death. It's like all the added time, you know, slowly creeping back to what it was.
Here's Moss. Floating one forward for Pavey. Brings it down with his shoulder. Challenged by Grimes. He's
That's
done well there.
Good hold-up play.
Yeah,
that's what we want to see.
Ammond onto Wakefield, and Pavey was running the other direction. Dobra has it back. But it's light signs of life from Woking, particularly down this right-hand side. Williams just needs to see a little bit more of the ball over on that far side. Probably not his fault, but that one opportunity does spring to mind. Better touch, he would have been through.
Yeah, but, you know, Woking working very hard out there to try and close Chesterfield down, deny them space. You know, they're getting in their faces. They're doing all the right things at the moment.
Here's Shackelford. Just the 4 appearances so far this season. His first start since August. 3 seasons with Maidenhead, who are the informed team in the minute in the National League. 3 games in a row. It's the longest unbeaten record in the division. Of course, after Barnet and Chesterfield failed on Saturday, Solihull were unstuck by Maidenhead. It's Craig Ross doing well at York Road, isn't he?
Yeah, he is doing well, and again, that was a surprising decision really by Sal.
Mandeville from one flank to the other. Berry offloading to Dobra, has options in the box. Dobra goes himself though, hits the byline, turns back to his right foot. Berry now looking to shape for the shot. And it's pushed over the crossbar by Andre Jr. It was straight at him. I think he just had to guide the ball over the crossbar.
Yeah, it was a regulation save, wasn't it? I expect any competent keeper to deal with that one. But you know, the bigger issue for me is always how do keepers field crosses? How do keepers deal with the ball in the air? That's how a keeper's judged, in my opinion. So let's just see now how he measures up for this corner.
Busy 6-yard area. The ball is whipped in right underneath the goalkeeper, who parries it away. Wakefield lofts it forward. Williams is on the chase, but Freckleton is back.
Well, to give him some credit, he got to it, but it wasn't the greatest of punches.
Yeah,
Blimey.
I agree.
You want to get a lot more distance on than that, and you want to punch it away from the danger area, not put it back in the middle of the penalty box.
There's a red and white shirt underneath it, not a blue one. Palmer. Back to Grimes. Freckleton, who's seen a lot of the ball for Chesterfield. Number 16 out with Mandeville now. It looks as though the wingers have swapped flanks, I should say. Mandeville's pulled out to this left. Berry's gone to the right. Akinola just losing out, but he's found Williams who goes sliding in. Chesterfield have it back, and Ian Dyer groans and moans in the technical area. They give the ball away.
Akinola took a chance there, really. You know, he was
all
crowded
blue shirts
out
in front of him.
Absolutely.
Freckleton again. Dobra. Casey's come out to this near side position, and he's fouled his man. Dan Moss has gone to left back for the moment. I wonder if that's tactical or is that just momentarily?
I don't know. I don't really understand why. I mean, you know.
Well, I think Casey's man marking Mandeville, isn't he? So as soon as the wing had swapped, Casey's come straight back out to this side. Casey's done well to find Akinola. Not the best clearance.
Casey's a left back and Moss is a right back.
Very
you know,
true.
It's square pegs in round holes, isn't it?
It's a very good analogy, John. Palmer. Now with Shackelford. Palmer, who's probably had the most touches on the ball aside from this man. Grimes. Jones. Has support with his keeper, Harry Tyra, just 21 years of age. There's a promising future ahead of him. Here's Berry. Same can be said for him, just 22 years of age. Dobra, the Albanian, flicking it onto Freckleton. Look who's back there. Padraig Hammond, and wins the throw and gets the rapturous applause from the Woking fans behind that goal.
Great tracking back, setting the tone. You know, he's such a good pro. You mentioned him earlier. We talked about Cuthbert, and you're absolutely right that Hammond is in the same category.
I'm not too sure what's just happened there, John. I don't know if the ball's just rebounded off someone in the crowd. Hammond was just looking anxiously for a moment. Not too sure. But we continue. Wakefield's header. Definitely a Woking throw, and is. Seven and a half minutes to go until half time. We've not had too many stoppages. Dan Moss retaking his position at right back now, as Berry and Mandeville has switched again, just for a 60-second phase. Chesterfield swapping wingers. The fullbacks followed. Now they've returned to their parent side.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah. Thank you, Chesterfield wingers, is what I say. Freckleton. Just finding every door shut at the minute, Chesterfield. Happy to buy their time and keep the ball. Jones. Direct to Mandeville. Found a bit of space between the lines, chased by Williams. Shackelford. Cut up by Akinola. Cries of keep moving from Ian Dyer. I think his team are just tying up a little in the closing stages to the first half. They need half time. It's been a decent display, but they are starting to add in a few mistakes. And here's Quigley, onside. Quigley scores, and in a blink of the eye, Chesterfield are in front. It's the former Woking striker, of course. The Irishman Joe Quigley adds to his account for the season. One or two mistakes were creeping in to the Woking play, and just like that, the league leaders are in front against their old foes, Woking. It's Woking 0, Chesterfield 1, with 6 minutes to go until half-time.
Pity, as you say, Woking were beginning to tire, and they left a chasm there. And Quigley, totally unmarked. You've got to say he finished it well, but it's tough on Woking. But this is what happens when your luck's down. You know, you make a mistake and you're punished.
They've not done badly, but Akinola was starting to lose the ball midfield. Collectively, I should say, it's not really down to individuals, but they were looking or starting to tire. And the visitors capitalise on the mistakes. Joe Quigley doesn't need a second chance like that. He dinked it over the keeper, who was left stranded. And Chesterfield are in front. Williams now with Ince. They get the free kick, but there was a possible advantage with Rowan Ince. Woking will take it. 5 to play. It is tough on Woking, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because
but it's the way it goes.
Largely this half they've matched Chesterfield. They've kept them at bay. But you did make the point, they were just beginning to look a little bit leggy. They weren't closing down as tightly, weren't pressing as much, and unfortunately, as I say, there was a yawning gap, and Quigley was in, and he finished very, very well.
Just starting to idle, and you can't do that against a team of Chesterfield's nature, who have been so prolific this season. Padraig Hammond, 35 yards out from the free kick, it's straight at the wall. Casey has picked it up. Akinola chases. Akinola drives forward, and he's got space. Tunji Akinola, check back to Wakefield. Excellent block from Palmer. Crucial intervention from Chesterfield's number 21. A real pro, Ashley Palmer, and he showed it there to cut out the shot. Woking corner.
Brilliant work, though, from Akinola. I didn't know he had that burst of pace in him, but he went past his man like a winger, and it was a decent cutback. Good to see.
Woking haven't given this up yet. Josh Casey. Another corner for him to negotiate. This time towards the back post. Up rises Cuthbert. Just mistimed his jump. But he will just about keep it in play. But he loses out to Dobra. And Williams in the way.
Wasn't the best of corner kicks again, though, from
Indeed,
KC. You know, having praised him earlier in the season for his dead ball delivery, it's not been the best tonight, really. It's either been straight down the keeper's throat or overhit. And it's predictable, really, trying to find the head of Cuthbert.
Working behind again at home. Their last home win was in the FA Cup, of course, to Hemel Hempstead. The last league win was back in August here against Dorking. And they've got in a few weeks' time on the road. That's how quickly that's come round. All of their last 3 victories have been away from here. It's what's keeping them afloat at the moment. Williams dispossessed, but he's won it back. Williams on the turn, still going Williams, looking for Pavey. Again, Ashley Palmer's there. Rebounds off Williams, they want handball. Straight back to Williams, looking for the square ball. Pavey is just too short for him. Flying in was Casey. Woking have it back now with Taylor, spread out to the right. Nodded away by Freckleton. And Wakefield will see it out for a throw.
It's a good pressure from Woking. Need to translate it, though, into at least getting a shot away.
Just a chance, a half chance will do this side of half time. But they trail by a goal to nil. Moss, just a little high for Akinola, but it was a decent touch. Losing out eventually, though. Wigley goes to ground easily. Hands on head for Paul Cook as Taylor swips it out to the Woking left. Nodded down by Williams, back to Casey. Williams wants it again, and here he is, the Welshman. Inside ball to Casey. Akinola's there, and Casey just left something in on Mandeville. Free kick for the Spireites.
I think Woking count themselves unlucky to be 1-0 down.
Absolutely. You know, having said that, what chances have they had to sting the palms of Harry Tyrone? Not too many.
But then equally
the other
Andre
way.
Jr. hasn't had much to do, really.
Pushed something over the crossbar and parried away a few crosses.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true when you put it like that. It just takes one moment. Ammon chasing Tyra here.
Yeah, exactly that. And they won't mind that. It gives everyone a chance to do their job, make sure they're effective.
Pavey rising to the header again. Ince chasing Dobra. Rebounds off Dobra. Surely a Woking ball, and is. Dobra swooping it out to Chesterfield, who's on his bike here as Casey plays it back to Alexis Andre Jr. First time ball is straight to Naylor, former Burton and Portsmouth midfielder. Mandeville back to Shackelford, and Palmer, a crucial intervention, a couple of those now, as 4 additional minutes are added to the first half. We can have a throw down to myself and John's left corner. Woking, who have failed to score in their last 3 home league games here, whilst Chesterfield keep up the record of scoring in every single away game so far. Win, lose or draw. When they were in form, Woking, they did tend to win the hard way. And no strangers to being behind at the break. Ammond's flick on to Pavey, who's come short. Back to Ammond, looking for Wakefield. He's managed to keep it in play. It's just behind Williams, who was, fair play to him, trying to keep himself on side. Ince on the stretch. Mars. Oh, lovely play there. Fooled me, that's for sure. Back to the goalkeeper. First time clearance is more of a sliced effort than anything. Ammond has the call of time. Didn't need it though. Palmer swoops on in. Cuthbert with time himself. Decent control with his chest. And hoists it back aloft as Akinola comes flying in. Jones guides it back to Tyra. And the visitors maintain possession. Naylor just looking to take the sting out of this first half. 4 added on. We played 90 seconds of that. Ashley Palmer once again. Back to Tyra. Played in all of Chesterfield's games so far this season, bar 2. Clearance by Taylor. Chesterfield do have a game in hand on those around them. They've played 19 before tonight, so they do have that game in hand. Of course, they are through in the FA Cup after they beat Portsmouth, of course, who are high-flying in League One. What a result that was.
Well,
Brilliant.
There's no doubt they've got a lot of quality in this side, and at this rate they're gonna win the league, aren't they? Really?
Yep.
I know it's
seeing any
early
other...
calling it.
No, you're right, John.
They are.
You know, as I said, if they win here tonight, which they currently are doing so, they're on 50 points already. Hard to see who really had the ball there. I think it was Pavey trying to crawl through sort of Chesterfield legs. Woking have a throw, which Casey's in control of, rather. Easy for me to say. Ince back to Taylor, opting to get the 4-iron out, goes long. Headed clear by Grimes over the head of Taylor, but he does get there eventually, gets his body across, and a nice turn from Woking's number 5. Again needs to clear the ball though. Here's Rowan Ince. Pavey gets his body across, but a good challenge from Grimes, and Dobra can bring it away. Challenged by Ince. He got some of the ball as Moss picks up the loose ball and Woking fly forward. Now with Padraig Hammond on the Woking right, looking for support in the box, met by Grimes. Hammond gets there first though, cleared away by the defender. Up goes Cuthbert with a driving header. Grimes this time, and then Naylor. There was a push from Cuthbert, and Chesterfield have a free kick. So as we were just discussing, Chesterfield turn their attentions away from the league after they face Eastleigh on Saturday. They're in action against Leyton Orient in the FA Cup, and then they host Southport in the FA Trophy. So 3 straight home games for Paul Cook in 3 different competitions. Whilst if Woking were to appoint a manager between now and Saturday, they would follow in the footsteps of Darren Sarle, who began his tenure with a trip to Boreham Wood. Of course, back in March was Darren's first game of last year. They then face Gateshead, the first side they meet for the second time this season already, before themselves face Robbie Wilmot and Weston-super-Mare in the FA Trophy. Half-time whistle has just gone. Woking 0, Chesterfield 1. There are claps from all 4 corners of the ground. 2 teams in contrasting form at the start of the game, but there wasn't a lot to split them in the first 45, John. But eventually, we're talking about flashes of quality, or flashes or moments of uncertainty, and it's certainly been the latter after 39 minutes, and their former striker, of course, has come back to haunt them, as so many do.
Yeah, you can't fault Woking's work rate, effort in that half. They gave everything. You know, they're just coming short, though, up top, aren't they? There's no real attacking threat. The keeper still hasn't had a shot to save. You are the home team when all is said and done. So somehow they've got to try and find a way of scoring, you know, because at the minute you can only keep so many out if you're not scoring at the other end. And Woking just got caught once and they're 1-0 down. And the big question is, can you really see them getting back into this game as an attacking threat?
Well, it's a free hit for Woking in the second half. They've got 45 minutes to try and get something out of this game, and they are down by 1-0 at the break. It's Joe Quigley who put the visitors in front after 39 minutes after some good Woking work, but they were starting to tire, and I'm sure that'll be the message from Ian Dyer, that they were almost over the line of halfway. At the break here, it's Woking 0, Chesterfield 1. We'll be back with second half commentary in around about a quarter of an hour. We'll see you very shortly. Well, both teams have returned to the fold for the second half here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium. Looks as though both teams aren't making any changes at the break. It should be the same 11, but we'll double check that in just a moment. Also a quick shout out to Gary Sessions, his partner Megan, and his new son Louis Sessions, who was born just last week. Welcome to the world, Louis, and I hope you end up supporting Woking like your old man. Although I do feel like that choice has already been made for you. Referee has just emerged from the tunnel. So Woking continuing with Alexis Andre Jr. in goal. Back four of Moss, Cuthbert, Taylor and Casey. Midfield trio of Williams, Akinola and Ince. Further afield, Pavey, Ammond and Wakefield. For Chesterfield, Harry Trier in goal. A back four of Shackelford, Palmer, Captain Grimes and Freckleton. Jones and Naylor in midfield. Out wide, Mandeville and Berry. Quigley being supported by Dobra. Referee poised with the whistle. We're underway for the second half. Chesterfield playing from left to right as we look in the commentary box. Woking playing from right to left. They trail at the break by 1-0. Taylor caught napping there as Quigley has retrieved the loose ball. Taylor to Pavey, who brings it under his spell. Ince. Wakefield is surely offside if he gets there. The keeper nods it to Grimes anyway. Shackelford. Akinola went flying in. Raises the hand in apology. So no changes at the break. We've been chatting to at half-time, John.
My mates in the KR here, really. We're all saying the same thing. Don't look like scoring. Yet another mistake. This time Greg Taylor gave the ball away, and we're caught, and it's a problem. And no one can quite believe how quickly things have unravelled.
Palmer. Gets the ball back from Naylor. No real Woking pressure on the front line. Williams now for Woking. Strong touch, but safely back to Taylor. Alexis Andre Jr. with the clearance. Ince is right underneath this, but beaten to it by Jones. Driving forward is Berry. Berry still going. Two Woking bodies across though. Just eases Berry out of play, and indeed the ball. Goal kick given.
So yes, all in all, frustrating really that having played well, you make one mistake and you're punished. And the big concern is, where are the goals going to come from? You've got Pavey out there who, to me, it's questionable whether he's good enough or not, but he looks low in confidence anyway. I'd be inclined to get Gregor Cox on
100%
sooner rather than later. I really, really would, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Woking's top goal scorer is Padraig Hammond. He's bagged 5 times. Gregor Cox and Corboa with 4, of course, missing Ricky Corboa, another name we mentioned in the first half. Slip there from the right back allows Williams through. Williams wants the corner, eventually gets it. There was a few nervous moments while the referee made his decision.
Yeah, you mentioned Corboa. He's yet another player who plays a couple of games and then he's injured for 2-3 months. I mean, you just can't have that.
No.
You cannot have a squad of players like that. You're asking for trouble.
Williams slips on the corner. Wakefield will go over to retrieve, but dispossessed by Dobra. And he's run the ball out of play. Lucky.
Yeah, lucky. at least in the first half, Wakefield showed a bit of fight, a bit of spirit. Because I say, Woking fans have just not seen the best in them at all.
No.
And again, to me, another questionable summer signing. And you spoke about that when I asked you really where things have gone wrong. And that, for me, sent out a very worrying signal when I looked at the calibre, looked at the quality of players. He fetched in. I was really thinking, are these adding anything to what we already have? The answer is no.
Of course, now post-Sal era, Woking, who had lost their style, abandoned their system, lost the spark that we saw so often last season, has all but dissolved. But they are showing a bit of fight out here tonight. Of course, the new incoming manager, whoever that may be, will have a colossal job on their hands to stabilise the club and its position. The standards they set last term.
They will, but what slightly concerns me, who on the board knows anything really about football? You tell me.
That's my biggest worry, I think, as well.
There's no one. There's not a Jeff Chappell. There's not someone you can go to who knows the game and can say, well, I wouldn't, or maybe I would, or he's worth sounding out. To me, I think they gave Sal far too much power, and we're paying the price for that. I know it's difficult, because what you don't want is the board interfering with a manager left, right and centre. You've got to trust the manager, but equally you can't just give someone carte blanche to go signing players willy-nilly. And as I say, I think there's been maybe a naivety with the owners, and I in a way I feel desperately sorry for them.
Dobra over on the Chesterfield left, over the referee. Mandeville got some kind of touch onto it. Casey's won it back. Now with Williams, cut up by Mandeville. Certainly don't think John Katz will be panicking. I think he's listening from the States tonight, I think. So good evening to John if you're listening. And he'll know, of course, there's a big job to do here. One that I'm sure he's enjoying, but a hurdle to overcome, and a manager to appoint. And Woking fans wait with bated breath as to who's going to take them into the next phase, if you like. Still early enough for Woking to turn around this season. They've given away a free kick cheaply, though, right next to the corner flag. Darren Sal, who was 20 games shy of a century as manager. But the worry was the defeats were catching up with the wins, weren't they? 35 wins, 29 losses for Darren Sal in his 80 games as manager. Mandeville's free kick, beautifully whipped into the box. Back to Shackelford. Lofted towards the back post. Palmer was arriving. Taylor took a chance. Game just become a little bit stretched in the last few minutes. Moss nods it down to Williams. Hunted down by Dobra. Rebounds off a blue leg.
And it is a big ask for the likes of Williams to be out there. When you're a young player, the last thing you want to be in is a side low on confidence.
And under pressure.
And under pressure. Not a manager either. It's tough on him. Which makes the decision to let Robinson go out on loan to Boreham Wood even stranger to me.
Which then goes back to the recruitment. Mandeville. Foul from Casey. Chesterfield with 22 points on the road this season. The same total that Woking have amassed in all. Of course, recent victories at Kidderminster and Boreham Wood. They would have fancied their chances tonight against an old foe who are seemingly easy to pass on home soil, but Woking are making it difficult for them. But you get the impression that the visitors are in control of the game now that they've got that one goal cushion.
Yeah, as we said before, there were signs of them beginning to exert more and more control. And of course the goal came at exactly the right time as well.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a tough ask for Woking really to get anything out of this game. But as I say, I think really they need to change the personnel sooner rather than later. Get Grego Cox on and give him a go.
Yeah. Bradshaw, Odesina and Habagum, the other outfield players on the Woking bench this evening. The atmosphere just seems to have dropped off for Woking as well. It's just disheartening to really even just hear the Chesterfield voices atop of anything at the minute. It's almost like a home game for them. Back to Tyra, giving game chases Pavey, although he looks exhausted. Hands are in the face of Taylor as Cuthbert rolls it back to Andre Jr. Not a bad clearance either. Wakefield's underneath this one, now met by Pavey. Pavey with time to turn, spreads it out to Williams. I've got Wakefield and Ammond arriving in the box. Williams is now looking to pick up the pieces himself. Ince low shot, met by Grimes, and Ince has pulled back his man and will surely be booked as a result.
Pity really that Woking didn't make more of that opportunity. No, of course.
No booking for Ince. I think the referee has just said to him, no more.
Lucky man.
Very lucky man. It's a yellow card to me. Tyra taking a chance. It's Casey is the man that's applying the pressure. Moss getting his body across the ball, has lost out to Dobra, who's causing Woking all sorts of problems on that far side. The linesman's flag is delayed by about 3 or 4 seconds, and again the referee has been asked to come over here. And is this going to be a card for Paul Cook or Ian Dyer? Looks just like the referee is heading towards the Chesterfield dugout, and Paul Cook, well,
no surprise, is it really?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, he's been full on motor mouth right from the outset. But to be fair, that's the way he is, and you know, there's lots of managers like that.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that either.
Passionate, I guess.
Yeah.
Within reason. And his club, of course, are doing oh so well at the minute. Favourites to win the division even at this early stage. And most of the leading protagonists that stayed in the division from last year leading the frame. The one disappointment, the home team here tonight. But there's still a long way to go, not just in this game but the season itself. We've seen teams late in the season push on, and here's Pavey pushing on around Grimes, who got back just in the nick of time. Have got the corner. I'm surprised there wasn't a foul on Grimes there, but
good work that from Wakefield there, played in Pavey, but he just wasn't quick enough really to react, and you've got to give credit to Grimes as well, came across and spotted the danger. But that's better from Woking.
Solid defending from the Chesterfield captain, but they've got a corner to defend here. Akinella and Casey have stayed back. Williams, right-footed corner kick coming in now. It's very central. Didn't really have a lot of pace on the ball, so it's easy to clear. Falls to Wakefield, the one-hand ball. Cuthbert throws a leg at it. Cuthbert again, losing out to Dobra, and the blue shirts are flying free now, but Casey is grinding away to get across and delivers the ball into touch.
Well defended by Casey, spotted the danger and across he came.
Approaching the hour mark. Woking 0, Chesterfield 1. Freckleton, infield to Dobra. I don't think it was caught by Cuthbert. I think he just lost his footing. They have a throw-in on the far side.
And Dobra, you know, coming more and more into this game. He's more and more influential. He's got such quick feet, low centre of gravity, and he does what, you know, Woking's midfield doesn't, which is he runs at players.
Shackleton. In the middle of the part is Naylor. Back to Shackleton. Clips it forward. Back to Naylor again. Woking with bodies across. It's a free kick actually for Woking after the push on Taylor. Good refereeing. I think the linesman probably spotted it himself. And Woking have a free kick virtually on the goal line. Elsewhere, Bromley 2, Aldershot Town 0 is still latest score. Eastleigh are 2-1 up on Boreham Wood. It's goalless between Ebbsfleet and Maidenhead. Halifax 0, Fylde 1, Kidderminster 1, Hartlepool 1, Rochdale 1 up on Altrincham, Solihull Moors 0, Gateshead 2. Solihull's miserable few days is set to continue. York City 2, Oxford City 0, and as you're listening to here on BBC Radio Surrey, Woking 0, Chesterfield 1, but this game is not over with half an hour to play. Shackelford. Nodded on by Quigley, the faintest of touches. A better connection from Williams and by Jones. Dobro nodding it down to Naylor. Swooped out to the left to find Berry. Berry now up against Dan Moss, cutting infield, as is his wont, to Naylor now. Naylor with short options left and right. Looking to play the 1-2, but Ince is there. Ince through the legs of Moss. Finds Wakefield, goes back to Cuthbert. Looks to drive Woking up the pitch, met by Ammond. Ammond still chasing. Berry rebounding off Moss. Chesterfield throw. No real movement on the Woking bench thus far. They trail here to the league leaders. Hoisted forward by Freckleton, and Andre Jr. has time to gather. Surprised some of the players can even understand Paul Cook when he's at the top of his voice. Long ball forward from the goalkeeper, which Palmer sort of chinned off the pitch and then eventually made sure. I don't think the referee's happy that the second ball's come on. What's going on here, John?
Who knows? He wants the ball that went out.
Very strange.
It's like cricket, isn't it?
Really odd. Yeah, that's a very, very good point. I want the same ball back. Even at Wimbledon you can't kick the balls these days, can you? Williams. Ambitious ball looking for Wakefield. Pavey had time to bring it down and just panicked. Cuthbert. All three Woking players onside. Ammond. Could be through here. Ammond goes for goal! Straight at Tyra. Wasn't a bad hit. He had nothing on.
Yeah.
Why not go for goal, John?
Yeah, definitely. And at least the keeper's had a shot to save now.
Let fly from about 20, 22 yards out. On his right foot, favoured foot. Tyra just had to stand still, more or less. As it's gone from goalkeeper to goalkeeper. Andre Jr. just had to check his bearings.
Yeah, trying to do a Pat Jennings for those old enough to remember.
I was going to say, you can think of the likes of Begovic in the Premier League, Robinson, Friedel. As we're going to see the first change, or is it a double change? We're going to see Ryan Colclough. And James Berry's night is over. Full name James Berry McAnally. It's his first start in 6 games. Hasn't really had too much to shout about. Dan Motts has kept him quiet, bar the one crunching tackle in the first half.
Yeah, worrying sign though that Ryan Colclough's coming on, because as I say, every time I've seen him play,
he's a magnificent player, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He was just sensational, I thought, for Altrincham, and he really is a dangerous player when he's on his game.
Hasn't found the back of the net since the start of September. No, I have not just cursed it. But the second half of the season last year, you mentioned after Altrincham, but when he was in a Chesterfield shirt, he really did catch the eye. Most weeks he was on the team of the week.
See, that was a case in point there, where Pavey never bothered to even jump. And in my book, you just can't do that. You've got to try and make a challenge. You've got to try and put your central defender
the word, really,
under pressure. You know, don't give him a free ride.
Yeah. I think the obvious swap would be Gregor Cox for Pavey, just to try something different. They can be somewhat similar players, but you know what you're getting from Gregor Cox. Similar style, but Gregor Cox knows what it's like at this level. As Colclough gets his first strike on goal, it ricochets into the channel of Wakefield. Left-footed clearance is straight to Naylor. Naylor now beyond Wakefield. Offloads to Dobro, who had more time than he realised. Akinola goes flying in. Wakefield leaving his legs and arms out. Colclough. Unmarked here is Jones. Saved by Andre Jr. Colclough another chance. And Ince eventually gets Woking away. Good save from Andre Jr.
But Woking living dangerously.
And forward they come with Williams. If anything, running on spirit here. Caught by Naylor.
And, you know, when Williams had the ball then, he was chased by, what, 3 Chesterfield players.
Taylor. It's a long search ball for Ammon. Right idea, but just a little bit too long.
And I was going to say a sub is warming up, but it isn't Gregor Cox. I think it's Bradshaw.
Yeah. It's a foul there somewhere. Your guess is as good as mine what it's for, but it's upset the Chesterfield fans over on the far side. So a chance from a set piece. 25 minutes left to play. We're going to really feed off these as Moss wants to go short. In the end, he's continued his run past Colclough. Zipped into the box. Akinola, 25 yards out, deflected. Goalkeeper was always comfortable that it was rising over the crossbar, but I think Woking have got to feed off those scraps for the next 20 odd minutes or so.
And it was a great first touch from Akinola to bring it down. Absolutely, yeah. And we're talking about a central defender here.
Playing more or less every position, Tunji Akinola, since joining the club. Casey with the corner kick. It's low towards the front post. Flicked on by Ammond. Always rising over the crossbar. But they are giving a fine account of themselves, Woking.
They are, but
to no
you just
avail.
wonder where are the goals coming from. You know, Chesterfield defensively look pretty comfortable out there, don't they?
They do. And
you know, Woking haven't got beyond them. They haven't really got. They haven't got behind them, and that's a concern for me, really, because as we saw in the first half, you make one mistake, you're punished. How are you going to get the equaliser?
Naylor just put his foot through it. I think it's going to be beyond Colclough, and is. Colclough, who looks as though he switched to the number 11 shirt this season. Michael Jacobs has the 10, who is amongst the substitutes. Also amongst the substitutes, number 9, Will Grigg. That name stands out for all sorts of reasons. Of course, a few years ago we were singing his name, and now he finds himself on the Chesterfield squad list, dropping down a couple of divisions, but certainly has not lost sight of where the goal is. When you saw that signing in the summer, you thought, right, what do the likes of Woking, Barnet, Solihull, Bromley have to match?
But the likes of Bromley are competitive. The likes of Barnet are competitive.
They are. Casey. Wakefield. Being hunted down by Shackelford. The goalkeeper gets a decent enough clearance, which Ammon puts Jones under pressure. Up goes Taylor for the header. Pavey losing out to Palmer. Not too sure who got the last touch there. Came off Ammond in the end. Paul Cook still barking out instructions. Mandeville. Just too long for Dobra as Moss goes direct to Ince. Gets the ball back from Woking's number 24. It's behind Williams, and Freckleton gallops forward for the visitors. Dobra has the ball again. Ince goes sliding in. Dobra still working it forward now to Freckleton. Looking for Colclough. Woking had numbers back. Chesterfield have a throw on the far side. Still no movement on the Woking bench.
And you do wonder why, don't you? Why is there no sign of Gregor Cox?
Listen to the atmosphere, John.
You know, is he injured? I mean, he's not even warming up. You would expect to see your subs at least warming up, wouldn't you? Even if you're not going to bring them on. But
yeah, I'd agree.
I don't really understand it.
Ammond, Pavey. Back to the goalkeeper. It wasn't a great clearance. Under pressure is Palmer now. Wakefield went flying in. Taylor, nice control. Straight to Casey. Nipped off in by Mandeville. Now with Akinola, who went the hard way. Dispossessed by Jones. Moss just threw himself at it. Got a touch with the top of his forehead. Chesterfield throw.
Yeah, thank goodness Moss got something on it.
Colclough would have had half the pitch to run into. You're right, John. There's just nothing really happening down below us, and there's 20 minutes to go, and your side needs a goal.
Yep. Perhaps there's some super glue on the bench or something, and they actually can't get off it. I don't understand it.
Jones, who has 2 appearances in the league away from 500 as a player. Former Carlisle and Oldham midfielder. 35 on his back, 36 years of age. Still playing at the top of his level. As Dobra, at the other end of his career, finds Colclough. Colclough fouled by Ince on the edge of the penalty area. Ince, who perhaps should have been booked in the first half, might be in a spot of bother here, because I think the referee had already administered his final warning. Was it a yellow card kind of challenge?
Except
No.
it's not. Well, fair play to the ref. At least he's not card happy.
Rowan Ince might have slipped him a fiver before the game, because he's been very lucky, I think, to not go into the referee's notebook. Anyway, free kick on the edge of the 18-yard box. It's probably 5-6 yards away from the corner flag, back towards their own half. Gregor Cox and Bradshaw now go and warm up. It's going to have to be a sharp warm up. There to come on to the pitch. Mandeville delivers it with pace towards the back post, and it might have come off a working man last. It did.
Decent free kick again, though.
Yeah, Mandeville's an excellent player, isn't he?
He is, but yeah, it's a good sign that Gregor Cox is finally up and doing a spot of running. So maybe all the conspiracy theories from me were wrong.
I will go test that bench, though.
Yeah.
They played it short here with Shackelford. Woking caught napping because Mandeville has it back. It's right towards the back stick here. It's beyond everybody. Frackleton goes to collect. Colclough trying to remain onside. What he realises he's miles onside, and here he is. Nodded away by Ince. It falls to Jones. Cries of shoot from the visitors. Plays it smartly to Shackelford. Back to Naylor. Shackelford again. Mandeville. Surrounded by opposition, and they've factored it well. Back to Mandeville. Chesterfield's trusty number 7 in between Ince and Akinola. Mandeville goes sliding in, but he got a bit of the ball. And here's Dobra, 30 yards out, pokes it forward looking for Colclough, who was on the stretch. Woking have a goal kick.
A rare misplaced pass from Dobra, just as well, really. But, you know, Woking needs some fresh legs out there, don't they?
Yeah.
They really do. You need to get Bradshaw on and get Gregor Cox on ASAP.
Yeah.
Don't understand what the delay is. 72 minutes. Get them on.
Looks as though you're going to get your wish with Gregor Cox, John, because he's putting on his number 9 shirt. Bradshaw continues to warm up, but you are going to get your striker on in the next phase of play, which might even be now. The clearance from Alexis Andre Jr. Hammond was having Ashley Palmer climb all over its back. And are we ready for the change now? Is Alfie Pavey's night over? Free kick to be taken by Casey. It's as though Woking will have one more attack with the 11 that they have on now. Do they go short to Wakefield? No. Casey's going to go long and direct here as Akinola trots forward. Dan Moss, the only player back for Woking. Every blue shirt back for Chesterfield. Casey now. Up rises Cuthbert, cleared by Colclough. Williams, back to Moss. And Casey is square. Woking's number 3. Another chipped clearance. Straight into the Chesterfield box. It's Greg Taylor in an unnatural position to Hammond. Low cross rebounds of Quigley. Woking have a corner. Are they going to make the change now?
Doesn't look like it.
No.
Now, a good delivery from Casey.
They're still in this game. The whole time that they're one down, they're still in this game. Can they salvage something from it? It's been a year to forget at home.
So all the Woking players in a line around the penalty spot,
forming
jostling.
A bit of a ladder. They've split up now as Cuthbert nods wide. So there was a foul in there somewhere.
How does the referee sort that out? I mean, can he decide that it's a foul?
So
all the players were.
They're all doing it. They're
Absolutely.
all trying to gain an advantage.
So why give anything then?
Going to get Zach Bradshaw on as well, Woking. So who do you reckon, John?
Well, Pavey
and Wakefield, perhaps?
Maybe even Williams.
Sorry,
possibly.
Williams, I should say. Williams and Pavey.
He's putting a good shift, Williams.
Yeah, he's done his bit. Had a half chance in the first half. Over the head of Taylor. And Casey realises not enough on the ball. We'll certainly need a new one now. Now, surely, this double change is going to be made because we need a new ball and Woking need 2 sets of fresh legs. Alfie Pavey, almost a certainty to be withdrawn, and is. British Gregor Cox will replace Woking's number 29, Alfie Pavey. His wait for his first Woking goal goes on. Zach Bradshaw, I don't think is quite ready yet. Gregor Cox, 4 goals so far this season, is on.
Well, you know, why isn't he ready? I mean, seriously.
Goal kick.
He is ready now.
Akinola is the man to be replaced.
Yeah, he's worked hard, hasn't he? Given his all. As I say, he's not really a midfield player, let's be honest.
So Woking are sticking with the formation that they started with, although Williams and Wakefield have switched flanks. It's much more of a combination front 2 of Gregor Cox and Ammond. Colclough on the other flank though. Has the ball for Chesterfield. Back to Grimes. Tyra. Sparwright's under no rush here, but Woking are penning them in as Palmer finds Shackelford. Cut out by Bradshaw, his first touch. Gives it back to his captain, Casey. Back heel roll to Williams. Bradshaw to Ince. Locates Moss. Wakefield is asking for it and gets it. Wakefield now cutting inside, but he's got 4 blue shirts around him. Does well to find Ince. Bradshaw now, again, just surrounded by opposition players, and they can't work it quickly enough. Andre Jr. straight to Taylor. Taylor opts to go long, looking for Gregor Cox. Up rises Palmer, it falls to Wakefield. It's a weak connection with the touch. And he's just holding some part of his leg, just walking away. That's a little worrying.
Oh, goodness me. Not injured again, please.
Freckleton. Roll to Jones. Quick 1-2 with Naylor. Under no rush, the Chesterfield players to look for this second. They know that the game will get a bit stretched as Woking try and gamble at the other end. Need another loose ball, because that one isn't coming back.
It needs a big last 12 minutes from Woking if they're going to get anything out of this game, and
they just got to go for it, John. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, but there's kind of a lot of huffing and puffing out there, but again, there is no cutting edge, is there?
No.
You know, you just feel they're never going to score.
Same story where they look pretty good at the back, but nothing really to unlock this Chesterfield defence, which is worth going at. As I said, they can leak a few goals. They normally just outscore the opposition, but they are very tough to beat. I think we're going to see Sam Habigam as the third and final change. Oh, Colclough has just strided beyond 3 Woking players as though they're not there. Colclough wants to go on his own. Ryan Colclough wide of the mark. What an opportunity, what an effort from Ryan Colclough. The referee's indicated for a corner, meaning perhaps the goalkeeper got something on it. I don't think he did.
Well, if he did, it was a great save. But yeah, Ryan Colclough there, he just left Woking players in his wake, didn't he? Put the afterburners on and he was away.
He was gone. Went himself. Paul Cook says selfishly, but such a wonderful player, Ryan Colclough, and factored a chance completely on his own. And as you say, John, if Andre Jr. got that touch, it will go down as a good save. The danger's not over as Mandeville floats one into the box. And the goalkeeper's there again. Now Wakefield's on the charge. It's got to go quickly, and there it goes. No red and white shirt near. Wakefield continues to chase. Lumped forward by Shackelford, which quickly will get to. It's a wonderful ball to Mandeville. Liam Mandeville cuts back onto his right foot, gets the shot away, and it's tapped home by Dobra. Flag stays down. Chesterfield have a second, and they will be hitting 50 points tonight in the National League. The league leaders are en route to yet another victory on the road. Wonderful play from Quigley and Mandeville to locate Armando Dobra in the box. And the Albanian scores his 4th goal of the season, and surely that's Woking dead and buried. Woking 0, Chesterfield 2.
Well, a quality goal from a quality player.
From a quality
Swift,
team.
Incisive, clinical, and, you know, for all Woking's efforts tonight, they're going to get nothing out of this game. And again, the difference is in attack. Woking just never look like they're going to score, and somehow they've got to do something about it. Quickly.
Looks as though the night's not over for Woking because Paul Cook's just recalled Will Grigg.
Well, and you can see the difference in quality. I mean, they bring on Ryan Colclough, and Woking are bringing on Sam Habagam, a defender. And Woking are 2-0 down. It just shows how thin the squad is in terms of an attacking threat, potency. I know Reece Brown is away, and he makes a big difference, but even so.
Palmer's clearance. Last touch came off a blue shirt. 10 minutes to go. And Woking set up a grandstand finish and at least get a consolation and give the home supporters something to take home. Headed by Palmer. Habagam with one of these long throws. Taylor's gone forward, Cuthbert's gone forward, Moss and Casey have stayed back. Casey's gone short here. Habagam said no, don't worry. It's direct. Away by Palmer. He's won every header, it must be said, in the heart of the Chesterfield box. Casey's turned all on his own. He's found a good ball to Taylor as well. Flag stays down. Excellent ball in. Ammond arriving. Dealt with by a Chesterfield head. Quickly, not the best touch as Habagam comes across and wins the ball fairly. Taylor gets a second opportunity out wide. Missed by the defender. Gregor Cox unmarked. Corner kick.
Well, they're still plugging away.
Habagam with the corner. Williams and Casey staying back. Habagam in swinger, met by Quigley's head. Casey will be the first one to it, chased by Colclough. Casey first time ball is met by the head, a Woking head. Gregor Cox trying to turn. Chesterfield eventually get it away. As far as Williams on the halfway line. He has to go back to Andre Jr. Gregor Cox will be offside if he touches this. Ammond will apply the pressure. Moss's header. Again, Gregor Cox has come from an offside position, and this time the flag does go up. Dying moments of the game now. The emphasis is on Woking just to set up anything, really, isn't it? Chesterfield have done their job.
Yep.
And by doing so, they can make a change. Will Grigg is the man to come on, and Joe Quigley is the man to come off.
Quigley, who's battled hard, took his goal very, very well. Of course, he was here at Woking for a while under Gary Hill.
Yep, back in the 2015-16 season, helped himself to a handful of goals in 19 appearances and gets the high five from Paul Cook and his management team. I have to say both goals were extremely well taken from a side that are flying in terms of confidence at the moment. They've put their defeat on Saturday to one side. They've kicked on again. They've won every game this season, bar 2 draws and 2 defeats after 20 games. 16 victories they're on their way to. It's League 2 class. And in any normal season last term, they would have raced away with the title. But Wrexham and Notts County aren't around anymore. Chesterfield still are. And they're making short work of the opposition this season. They really are a class apart at the moment. And a foul throw this time against Josh Casey. Casey's asking for what?
No point querying it. It's been given now. Get on with it. You see the throw-in?
Yeah, it was here, wasn't it?
Here.
Right in front of us.
So how does that work? I mean, that's just ridiculous, that is. That really does do my head in. You pull the player up for a foul throw, and then you allow the opponent to take the throw in a good, 5 yards, etc. down the line.
Up to
just
10
makes
yards
a
further.
nonsense decision, really. I know it's not going to change the course.
No,
of
of course,
game,
but I know what you're trying to say.
It's just ridiculous.
Third and final change for the visitors. Michael Jacobs is coming on. Liam Mandeville, who's been their star player for the last few seasons, is coming off. Excellent ball in for the second goal, of which was met by Armando Dobra. Closing stages of the game here at the Laithwaite, as a select few fans head for the exits, as Grigg nearly got on the end of that. The Woking goalkeeper was there. And rolls the ball out to the veteran that is Scott Cuthbert. It's a loose ball from Moss, who's given it straight back to Freckleton, who in turn has given it straight back to Cuthbert. Jones finds Jacobs. Now with Dobra, he's got Cole-Clough running onto it. Just couldn't meet the on-rushing ball. Lovely touch from Naylor. That was so delicate. Dobra now with Moss and Ince for company. Looks to loft one through to Cole-Clough. They're just dancing through the Woking defence at the minute, Chesterfield. Naylor back to Freckleton. Gets the 1-2 off Dobra. Low cross comes in, looking for Grigg on the turn. And somehow he's put it wide. Golden opportunity to wrap the game up with 3 goals and 3 points. And I think many Woking fans were just waiting for the net to crash.
Yeah, it was Ole football, wasn't it? That man Dobra at the heart of the action again. I think the Woking man of the match, I think I heard, was Rowan Ince.
I thought I heard Rowan Ince, although I'm not 100% sure. Oh, goodness me, as Palmer goes flying over the back of Ammond. Gregor Cox infield to Ammond. It was a strong touch, and Grimes delivers it clear. Only half-heartedly, though. Foul on Shackelford. The Woking players are starting to get all worked up now. Enough is enough, I think. And Casey is just going to talk himself into a booking, I think.
Yeah, he got frustrated a moment or so ago over being pulled up for the foul throw, and he's just kept chirruping away, and the referee's had enough.
Final couple of minutes then. Ammond to Ince, and it's just loose, and Rowan Ince looks a shadow of his former self, really, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I suppose, as I said earlier, in his defence, he's not playing with his regular midfield partners, Anderson and Kellerman, and, you know, it's difficult. He's got a youngster alongside him in Williams, and a centre-half alongside him in Akinola.
Ince's header to Bradshaw. Ince has worked that actually wonderfully well, and nice nutmeg from Bradshaw on Dobra. Moss to the goalkeeper, who punts it forward straight down the centre of the pitch. It's a half jump, if you like, from Gregor Cox, and Woking will hope that the board for additional time is as minimal as possible, because it's almost like they've got no chance of scoring here. Shackelford rolls in Jacobs. Back to the fullback. Palmer. He's had an excellent game in defence, hasn't he? Palmer and Grimes are the foundation of Chesterfield's defence, platform to success. Two National League stalwarts who should be playing Football League football, and might be doing so. Chesterfield in action next in the league against Eastleigh before 2 games in 2 different cup competitions. Leyton Orient in the second round of the FA Cup and Southport in the FA Trophy. Woking travel to Boreham Wood, possibly with a new man at the helm, as Dobra now races into the box. Toe pokes one, goal bound. It got a touch of a Woking leg. Corner kick. Next game here, of course, is against Gateshead before they travel to Weston-super-Mare in the West in the FA Trophy, before facing Dorking at Meadowbank and Maidenhead here before Christmas. And then, before you know it, we're on the Derby Day double header.
Goodness me.
Goodness me, and how 12 months can change.
Well, 6 weeks can change. As I say, I did the game here against Bromley, and Woking were desperately unfortunate not to get anything out of the game, and then since then it's just gone ridiculously wrong.
Jones out to Cole Clough, gets the shot in. It's well saved from Alexis Andre Jr. Called into action. You just cannot give Ryan Colclough any space to operate in, because he will punish you, and he so nearly did.
Yeah, it was a very decent save. I know you could say it was reasonably close to him, but
had to be saved.
Nonetheless, it was hit with great power. And, you know, let's put this into perspective. This game isn't going to define Woking's season, not now.
No, of course
not. And, you know, they've got to try and pick the positives out of it.
Cuthbert's header is away. For the time being, Woking do need to look over their shoulder, and York City winning tonight means that they will be moving up to 22 points in a share of the placings with Woking. Woking just 2 points above the relegation zone. How things can change oh so quickly, as John says. But what can get worse can get better. And it's a big few weeks for the club here at the Laithwaite before Christmas, before the big 2 games against Aldershot, and into the new year. New chapter will begin with the new manager in the coming days. Who that man is, we shall see, as Habergum finds Bradshaw. Bradshaw was caught. No one really keen on taking this. There's no one near the ball, there's no rush. It really just sort of sums up where Woking are at the minute.
Yeah, I don't understand why the centre-half Taylor didn't take it. I mean, all you're going to do is launch it. Instead of that, Williams has to trot over there, using up valuable time. Just get it in there.
Williams only reaches the edge of the penalty area, but finds Cuthbert. Gregor Cox is onside, lets the ball bounce. Flag then comes up straight at the goalkeeper anyway. Referee allows play to go on.
And it comes back to what we said so many times tonight, that Woking look just blunt as an attacking instrument, don't they?
Blunt, I think, a very good term to use. I think an appropriate term to explain how it is at the minute. That's how all the fans will be going home. Football can do strange things to you. Up rises Taylor, Ince's time, as does Ammond. Here's Gregor Cox, who was fouled by Jones. It's an aggressive challenge. Gregor Cox is still down, and we are going to see a yellow card again. I think the referee has done all right tonight, bar the very, very strange decision about the throw-in.
No, I'd agree with you. He hasn't been card happy, which always pleases me.
Mm-hmm.
You let the game flow.
You're only ever card happy at Christmas, John.
Yeah, I know. The old ones are the best.
Casey, final chance for Woking to salvage something from this game. A goal, not a point, but it's easily cleared, and it's 3-on-3 here if Chesterfield want a third. Sliding in was Williams. Well, I think the initial foul came from Bradshaw, and we're into the last 60 seconds of the game. So, John, what do you make of it all then? Woking with positives to take from the first half, but they've tired and very quickly become second best in this game. Chesterfield in the second half struggling to really get out of second gear.
Well, I came into this game thinking Woking were going to be tonked, so 2-0 actually isn't as bad as I feared. And indeed, for chunks of the game, you know, they have been competitive. And let's face it, they're a very decent side, Chesterfield. They've got quality everywhere. Woking are low on confidence. So, you know, the positives I take from it is that if somehow we can start scoring, then we'll be okay, because I think defensively we are okay. I know it was a mistake that led to the first goal, but you are going to make mistakes. And it's important that, however, you can score goals at the other end.
And let's not forget, there are goal scorers in the team. It's not as though you need to venture out, panic elsewhere. There are players in this team that can find the back of the net.
There's Reece Brown to come back, and I think he's a quality player. Let's hope to God he doesn't get injured.
Lewis, Corboa, there are players to come back.
Yeah, look, if Woking could field their first 11, they would be very competitive. The trouble is, they never can.
They might not be where they are.
They're always injured.
Bradshaw, final chance for Woking. Hammond back to Bradshaw, needs to be a first time ball, and is beyond Grego Cox and indeed Williams. The referee has seen enough, as have the Woking fans. It's the Chesterfield fans that will march back north. Happy, home and hose. 3 points on the road means they reach 50 points, and we're 2/3 of the way through November. They are marching on and will surely be a League Two club without disaster over the winter which they endured 12 months ago. It's been a fabulous performance on the road from Chesterfield, weathered the Woking storm in the first half and took full advantage of the mistake from Greg Taylor. Joe Quigley scoring 6 minutes before the half-time whistle, and then it was on as even really in the second half. Neither team really challenged either goalkeeper too often. Chesterfield had most of the ball and then most of the attacking threat, of which they took advantage of. Some wonderful play down the Chesterfield right. Mandeville finding Dobra in the box, who converted from close range to give Paul Cook 3 points. Another win on the road, back to winning ways, and they are top of the National League table, and they are rising further clear. John Moore, we start with Chesterfield. Good performance on the road.
Very much so. As I said earlier, they're a quality team. They've got a decent manager, a decent budget. Everything has come together for them, and as I say, you can't really see anyone stopping them.
And for Woking, I think the headlines will be written in the next week or so. The one that matters, the one that stands out, is the appointment of a new manager at the helm. A new chapter will begin for them when they name that name.
Yeah, and let's hope the new man can galvanise this squad, can get the injured players back, can instil some confidence, and find a way also to ensure that we start scoring goals again.
It's finished here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium. Woking 0, Chesterfield 2. The season isn't over for Woking, but it is sadly for me in the commentary booth. 200 games later, tonight is probably going to be my final game behind the microphone for BBC Radio Surrey. I've loved every second of it, the ups and highs of promotions, cup runs, late turnarounds and Derby Day dramas, and frankly no lows. My thanks to everybody for listening to me over the last 6 years with the BBC. Thank you for putting up with me. It's been a great journey. I'm sure that you'll hear my voice elsewhere. I'll still be following my local team from afar, but for now it's time to say goodbye on these airwaves. Who knows, the odd guest appearance in the future shouldn't be written off. But thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you to all you Cards fans. Thank you to all the messages. It's bye for now from me.
And a big thank you, Mark. You will be missed. Thank you for all you've done. And who will ever forget your commentaries, particularly against Aldershot, and obviously when Woking clinched promotion from Conference South all those years ago. All the best.
John, it's been my pleasure. Thank you very much to you, to Ian Nicholson, of course, as well, and to the folk at BBC Radio Surrey. I'm sure I'll see you again soon. Thanks very much indeed.